Sometimes we get these false stories running in our head, getting us to believe that who's going to want to listen to this story? Who's going to buy into this? That inner critic really gets you to buy into and believe these ridiculous stories. Throw them out the window. Realize that she is a critic. She wants you to believe the worst about yourself. Stop believing every little thought she puts into your head. Give her a name, talk back to her, tell her to shut the F up. Stop believing every thought she puts into your head. Be like, bye, Felicia. No thanks, Karen.
Welcome to Next Level You podcast. I'm Stefanie Dingbaum, your host, your biggest cheerleader, and your go-to girlfriend for real, raw, and uplifting conversations about leveling up in life. As a mental health therapist with over a decade of experience and a business coach helping women elevate their lives and businesses, I'm here to guide you through the mindset shifts, holistic practices, and manifestation tools you need to step into your most authentic, next level self. Whether you're here to ignite your personal growth, elevate your professional game, or simply rediscover you, this podcast is your invitation to dream bigger, go after your goals, and unapologetically claim the life you deserve. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. It's time to up-level, manifest, and glow.
Welcome back to Next Level You podcast, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is a real life moment for me. I had full intentions of recording today, and I was gonna be, a little more dressed up than I am. Not that it really matters, but I do like to get dressed up when I'm recording, or I like to at least feel like my next level self, whatever the attire might be. And this is real life though. I have had a headache for the past 3 or 4 days. I am dealing with a pretty intense sinus infection. And obviously, you can't plan when life happens, right? So you can probably also hear it in my voice. I just got my voice back yesterday. It's not 100%, but it's getting there. It's a little raspy yet, and I'm probably going to have to take a water break from time to time, but I needed to have this podcast recorded because I have a social media manager that does all my scheduling for me and my editing, and I told her I would have this out to her by today. So anyways, full transparency, I'm not looking like my best self. I'm not feeling like my best self, but you still got to record these. You still got to do these from time to time, even when you're not feeling it. And this is the absolute latest. I'm pushing this out. Let's just dive in. So, as a lot of you probably know, and there's probably some of you that don't, last week I attended a conference called Sister Circle Summits. This is a conference that happens here in the Midwest. It's actually over in Wisconsin. So, for those of you that don't know, I am in eastern Iowa. So, not far from the Wisconsin border, just about an hour from the Wisconsin border. And at my first Powerhouse Women conference, I met a gal named Stefanie Ross. We actually had this happenstance meeting. We just met in line to take a picture on the Powerhouse Women stage. And as we were in line waiting to get our picture taken, we were just getting to know each other. We thought it was cool that we both had the same name. And then come to find out we're both husky moms. We have Siberian Huskies for pets. At the time, she was, I believe, 28 weeks pregnant and expecting. She didn't know it at the time. She had a baby boy. And so now we're both boy moms. We have that in common. And we're both podcast hosts. I mean, we had so much in common. So we stayed in touch following the conference. We've actually become pretty good friends. And Stefanie hosts the Sister Circle Summit every year. Well, this year I manifested getting on stage at her summit. I got to do a trailblazer talk at her summit. So I was just tickled to finally be able to attend it. I wanted to go last year, but the dates really just didn't work out for me. And so I'm so glad I got to go this year. And I actually went up with a dear friend of mine, Molly, who owns Bookkeeping by Molly. So if you're in need of a bookkeeper, highly recommend you check her out. So anyways, Molly and I went up to the conference together, and this was for both of us, our first time attending. And oh my gosh, you guys, this was such a powerful conference. We got so much out of it. We made amazing connections at it. And I cannot tell you, since being home. So we went up there Thursday morning We paid for the VIP tickets, so that meant we got to be a part of the Thursday activities, which was just amazing. Just a lot of like soul work in those activities, so it was really great. And then Thursday night was the disco cowgirl dance party, which was really fun. There was also a mastermind dinner that was a part of that. Just the connections made at this conference were truly next level, and I'm so grateful for that. And since being home, I've really been nurturing some of those connections, and I cannot believe the amount of abundance that has come to me in the short time since returning home from this conference. Some really amazing opportunities that I can't wait to share with you guys. So, anyways, I wanted to come on today to really talk to you about what some of my takeaways were from my first speaking opportunity, speaking on an actual stage for the first time. This was something that I've been trying to manifest for the last year. And I just got to tell you, it felt really freaking good finally manifesting it. It felt really freaking good being on stage for the first time and speaking, not just at any conference, but a conference of a friend of mine who is just killing it. You guys, Stephanie, if you ever have the opportunity to be in a room with her, jump on it because she is just so good about making these beautiful communities of really amazing people, really amazing women, female entrepreneurs, you name it. So I felt quite honored to be on stage at her event. And this was her sixth annual of this event. So quite a big deal. So let's just dive right in. I have six things I want to share with you guys in regards to my takeaways from speaking for the first time. If you are somebody who is not sure if you want to be on a stage, is not sure if you want to be on podcasts, maybe you haven't fully confronted that shadow part of yourself who is not yet ready to be seen, then you need to listen to this episode because I'm telling you, confronting that version of myself and finally like taking the leap and doing this is one of the best things I ever did for myself, on top of like speaking on podcasts, obviously. Okay. So, first big takeaway is visibility is terrifying. I will speak to that. It's scary AF putting yourself out there, but I do it every week on the podcast. So, to an extent, I'm used to it. But what's even more terrifying, I think, is when your audience is sitting right in front of you. It's really easy for me to it's really easy for me to come on the podcast because I don't know who's listening. So, it's a pretty easy risk, I feel. And also like I've really strengthened that muscle, so I've gotten really used to it. But it can be really terrifying when your audience is sitting right in front of you, staring at you while you're speaking. That's really terrifying. I don't know the exact statistic, but one of the biggest fears in our society is public speaking. Like it's up there with the fear of dying. Like it's one of the top fears. I think it even trumps dying. So, anyways, confronting this could be one of the biggest flexes for you, could be one of the biggest growth areas for you. And so, I will say, while visibility is terrifying, it is 100% worth it because the fear is never just going to go away. You have to confront it, you have to flex that muscle. It's just like the podcast. The more I record, the easier it gets. I don't really care what people think of what I say anymore. Like, if you don't like it, then just don't listen. And if you're listening because you're like curious if you're going to agree with me or not, well, I don't care because it still gives me more listeners. So it still helps my statistics. But anyways, the muscle gets stronger the more you practice it. That fear is never going to go away unless you face it, unless you practice it. So just choosing to do it, even though I knew I was afraid, was the best thing I could have done. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was in, like, the back hallway waiting to walk on stage, and my nerves I was shaking, I felt like my stomach was gonna fall out of my butt, but I walked onto that stage as if I was the confident version of myself that I know I am, and yes, my heart was pounding, yes, my hands were shaking, but I did it anyways, I confronted that fear. And you know what's on the other side of that fear? Growth. Because the version of me that walked on that stage and the version of me that walked off that stage were two different people. Growth happened just in that short amount of time, just in that 10 minutes that I was on stage. And I knew I was ready for it, but I didn't know how easy it was really going to be because that fear really gets in our head and makes us believe that it's scarier than it really is. But you guys, it's not nearly as scary as we make it out to be in our head. That story that our brain makes up is not completely factual. More proof that we probably shouldn't believe every thought that pops into our head. Okay. Another big takeaway that I got from speaking on stage was that imperfection is very relatable. What I was talking about up on stage was self worth and burnout. And there's no perfect way to go about starting a business. We're all just learning as we go. But thinking you need to go up on stage and share this like perfect story is really not realistic. Okay. And thinking that you need to portray this perfect version of yourself up on stage is also not realistic. And in general, an audience prefers somebody who's more relatable. There was another speaker later in the day on Friday that spoke after lunch. She went up there with note cards, fully prepared. And about a quarter of the way through, she was like, screw these note cards. Like, these are not helping me. And she like threw them to the side. And it was so relatable, you guys, because it's like, yeah, we go up there, trying to look like we're all prepared and ready. And it just throws us off. So just throw them off to the side and be real with your audience. Share what you know, share what you've lived. And that's ultimately what I was doing up there. I was sharing my lived experience with burnout, my lived experience with owning my self worth and facing that wound that I had previously been carrying. And at the end of the day, an audience responds to your authenticity and vulnerability. Even with the podcast, that's what I've learned too, is people like authenticity and vulnerability way more than like perfection. Okay. Because perfection is this unrealistic thing that we're trying to attain that is never really going to happen. And honestly, the parts of us that are messy are more relatable. They are more human. I think that's why that one speaker really stood out to me because like that was way more relatable. I did not want to be walking onto that stage without holding onto note cards, but I had to learn to do it. Every previous speaking opportunity that I've ever done, I always had notes in front of me to keep me focused, right? And it doesn't though. If anything, I think it throws you off more. And then you're not really looking at your audience. When you're not looking at your audience, you're not relating to them. And I will tell you, I felt like I could see audience members relating to me in real time. And that is powerful. That's really powerful in the moment. I'm going to talk about that a little later on in this episode. Are you 5'4" or under? If so, listen up. Did you know that nearly half of the women in the US are petite? Yet shopping for stylish clothes that fit perfectly can feel close to impossible? For years, I struggled with this. Shopping in kids sections, dealing with oversized arms, long pants, and wasted money on alterations. I literally hated going shopping because nothing ever fit just right. Then, one day, I found Short Story. It's a clothing subscription box specifically designed for petite women. Short Story is rewriting the fashion rules for petites, offering clothes tailored for all sizes, shapes, and heights under 5'4". They even design their lines based on feedback from their subscribers, which is people like you and me. Here's what makes Short Story amazing. Each box is personalized to your measurements and style preferences. No more alteration or guesswork. You choose how often you get a box. It could be monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly. Every box includes 7 items, and honestly, I usually keep anywhere from 4 to 6 of them because they just fit so well. Their styling quiz lets you share your budget, your style preferences, and even your Pinterest board for inspiration if you have a style board like me. Yeah, I literally manifested my Pinterest wardrobe thanks to Short Story. And after each box, you can give feedback to make your next box even better. Imagine never having to shop in stores again, feeling confident at every event you attend, and knowing that your clothes were curated specifically for you. I've been a loyal subscriber for over 6 years now, and I promise it's been a game changer. If you're ready to up-level your style and show up as the best version of yourself, give Short Story a try today. And a bonus for my listeners, use the referral link in today's show notes to waive your styling fee on your first box. Let Short Story handle the hassle while you show up stylish, confident, and ready to take on the world. Again, showing up, facing that fear, being authentic, being vulnerable, being real to who you are, messy and all, listeners and audience members love that. They eat that shit up. There's this code that if somebody is speaking to a topic that just really deeply resonates with you, then instead of like clapping or wooting or whatever, you just do steps like in the air, quick steps. And there was times as I was speaking that I saw women doing the snaps up in the air. And it was like, that was like instant validation and reassurance that I didn't even know I needed. And honestly, in that moment, seeing those snaps, like really gave me momentum, you guys. It instantly in my head, I was like, okay, yes, let's go. And then I felt like I could keep showing up authentically and real. And I didn't know I needed that validation, but it instantly lit me up seeing those women do that. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have it all figured out, but I want to be able to share what I have figured out so far in my journey. And that means sharing the real and the raw parts of my journey. And those real raw parts, they aren't perfect. But again, that's not what listeners want to hear, anyways. So that was a big takeaway for me. Another big one was this whole experience. I was only speaking for 10 minutes, you guys, but it doesn't matter. Abundance is what you make of it. Like an abundance could be speaking on stage for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. It doesn't matter. Could be a keynote, could be a quick introduction of somebody. It doesn't matter what the reason is you're on stage. That's still abundance. Abundance is the definition you give to it. And this experience of speaking on stage for 10 minutes really lit a fire under me. And I now know I do want more of this. I needed that one experience to show me that, yes, this is what you want, Stefanie. And again, I just compare it to the podcast. It's just another stage, just in a different form. I want more stages, more physical stages, because that experience made me feel like my next level self. And that's what I'm here for, you guys. I mean, I guess I didn't realize just how empowering this was going to feel. Just standing on that stage, looking out at like my ideal audience and sharing my true, real, messy experience. I'm like, okay, I want more of this. I'm ready to up my game. Give me more stages, universe. I'm putting it out there in hopes that like the universe is listening, God is listening, and he's just going to send those opportunities right back to me in abundance. And let me tell you, since leaving the conference, he already has. I'll share more about that in another episode, though. Okay, so in regards to wanting to get on more stages, I don't care about the size of them. It could be a small, intimate community. It could be a big audience of hundreds of women. I don't care. I just know I'm feeling called to be on more stages. This one experience taught me that I want more of that. And ideally, the audience would be my ideal audience, female entrepreneurs or high achieving women in general. That would be my audience. And I'm feeling called to share the healing work that I do, not just as a therapist, but the healing work I do as a hypnotherapist, the healing work I do as a Reiki practitioner, as a intuitive healer, with the inner child work that I do, blending all of this together. I'm happy to go on stage and do a keynote. That would be freaking great. What would also be great is sharing my tools and my work as a hypnotherapist, as an intuitive healer. It's a different form of speaking on stage, but healing on stage also sounds really freaking incredible to me. So I'm feeling really called to do more of this. Because here's the deal, even if only one woman in that room on Friday walked away feeling seen, heard, or ready to heal, then it was completely worth it. Then that 10 minutes for me was completely worth it. And I know for a fact one woman did feel that because I saw it in her Instagram story after leaving on Friday. And that was, again, instant validation that, like, yep, you needed to be up on that stage, Stefanie. It worked for one person. I'm sure there was more than that, but I'm just using that as an example. Another big takeaway is Just the power of getting in front of your ideal audience, you guys, it's unmatched. Okay. You can get in front of any audience. I don't care. I could stand in front of, it would be intimidating AF, but I could stand in front of an audience of men, not my ideal audience, but I could get in front of that kind of an audience. It would be scary for sure, but it wouldn't feel nearly as good as my ideal audience of high achieving women. Okay. So the power of getting in front of your ideal audience is truly unmatched. I think I truly underestimated just how empowering it would be for me to speak directly to the women that I feel called to serve right now. Because the feedback that I got, both from women in the room that day and even feedback since returning home and after the conference, all of that feedback combined reminded me that there are women out there that are doing this hard work and they need my reassurance. They need my validation. They need my expertise, my wisdom, my knowledge, my lived experience, because it all helps, right? They need to know at the end of the day that they are not alone. They need my message. And I think sometimes we get, again, these false stories running in our head, getting us to believe that who's going to want to listen to this story? Who's going to buy into this? Buy into what? It's your real life lived experience. Like, cut the crap. Like, that inner critic really gets you to buy into and believe these ridiculous stories. Throw them out the window. Recognize that she is a critic. She wants you to believe the worst about yourself, you guys. Stop believing every little thought she puts into your head. Give her a name, talk back to her, tell her to shut the F up. Stop believing every thought she puts into your head. Be like, bye, Felicia. No, no thanks, Karen. Whatever the name is that you might give her. So again, getting in front of your people, your ideal audience, it's not just marketing, you guys. It is soul led work. I Somebody at my table told me before going on stage to just like give it all to God and trust that he's going to give me the right words. So I did that, and my soul was in charge up there on stage. And I just followed intuitively where I felt I needed to go. And I think that's the best kind of speaker, honestly, is when you're speaking from the soul. Another big takeaway for me that I think it's important to share with you guys is that the ROI from speaking on stage does not always come immediately. I think we want to believe that somebody out there is going to love what I have to say and they're going to show up in my DMs and they're going to be like, oh my God, you really spoke to me. Oh my God, I have to work with you. I mean, that was kind of the story I was telling myself before going into this conference. I didn't get that DM yet, or I haven't yet. It might be coming, but that's okay because the ROI doesn't come immediately and it doesn't have to either. Sometimes you hear from people right after speaking, and sometimes you get DMs days later or weeks later telling you that your message deeply resonated with them. And I think it'd be even more powerful getting that kind of a DM weeks later because it just goes to show that our words stick with people long after it's been said. Regardless of whether a connection is made from speaking, regardless of whether anything comes out of it, at the end of the day, it's not always about what you're getting in return. I truly believe as long as I was able to help one person from sharing my story that day, like I said before, that's been enough for me. And I do believe our words stick with people long after they're spoken. And that ripple effect, that's the power of showing up and sharing your truth. At the end of the day, that's why I want to be on stage. I just really feel called to share my truth. I just really feel called to share my lived experience because I believe it can help other people. I mean, that's why I do the podcast. That's why I keep speaking in other ways. That's why I get on other people's podcasts because you never know when your message is going to land exactly when someone needs it the most. You just never know, you guys. I did a podcast episode. I brought on Coach by Kate, and we talked about just different like health myths that we don't buy into or health beliefs that we don't buy into. And at the very end of our episode, for a short, like 2 minutes, we talked about alcohol consumption. And I kid you not, I got 2 DMs within the week of that episode airing that specifically were referencing that 2 minutes at the end of that episode where we briefly talked about alcohol consumption. And one of them in particular was like, oh my gosh, I needed to hear that. I feel like in my small town, it is rare that somebody doesn't drink on a Friday night or doesn't want to get drunk on the weekends. And I feel like a black sheep because I decided to go sober because I'm just doing it for my health. And she just felt like nobody gets me, nobody sees me. And so it's wild. Like you just never know when your message is going to land with somebody and exactly when they need to hear it. Okay. So I don't want to be on stage solely because I believe there's going to be a return on investment of getting on stage. I do feel really called to just continue to share and speak my truth, but I also do believe there's an ROI. I do believe that's a really strong form of marketing is getting on stages, any kind of stage. But I think it's important to be said that the ROI doesn't always come immediately following these opportunities. And then the final takeaway I really want to share with you guys is more of a like warning, heads up for listeners. This is just the beginning for me. Okay. One stage leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next. I'm already seeing that ripple effect. So get ready. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me physically on stages, both small and large sizes. And I'm freaking here for it. I'm going to manifest more stages. I'm telling you, I'm feeling really called. That's the era I'm in. I'm in this era of like, I want to step up on stages and I'm going to keep saying yes. I'm going to keep trying these opportunities because why not? If I can touch more souls, if I can impact more lives, why not? So not really a takeaway, more of a like heads up warning, you're going to see more of me. Yeah, I really feel that at my soul. Okay. So if you're listening to this and you host an event or maybe you host a retreat and you want to bring me in for hypnotherapy services or inner child work services, or I don't know, there's a variety of healing that I can bring to the room, Reiki services, you name it. DM me, email me. I would love to speak at your event, speak at your retreat, speak at your conference, whatever it might be. You guys, I am open to idea. And it doesn't have to be just in Iowa. I am 100% open to traveling. As long as my family can come with me, I am 100% open to that. So you heard it here first. Stefanie Dingbaum is now open to being on more stages. And if you are like scared to death of being seen and this is a wound or a shadow version of yourself that you have not faced yet, we can work on that in my coaching. That is one of the areas I specialize in, and I would love to help you with that. If you also have this goal of getting on more stages, but right now that sounds scary AF to you, let's work through that together. I would love to coach you through that. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you for listening. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys next week.
Real quick before you go, I just want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And congratulations on showing up for you. Every step you take to invest in yourself brings you that much closer to your next level self, and I'm so proud of you. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or take a screenshot and tag me on socials so we can keep spreading the next level you energy. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Let's freaking go!